26th Annual Merrimac Santa Parade. It's another great day for another great parade. Thank you all for being here. The theme for this year's parade is North Pole Fantasy. I'm Bob Harrington. My old friend Kenny O'Keefe and I will be announcing the parade again this year. Joining us in the reviewing stand, donated by Edgemont Fuels, are our excellent sound engineers, Robin O'Neill and Christine Beals. And Aliyah. Aliyah is here somewhere as well. Thank you both so very much for providing music before the parade and sound during the parade. Also in the reviewing stand are Bob Fowler and grandson Evan, and Patrick Powell, Chris from local Channel 18, and Ben Bolio from TNN Internet Radio. They'll be videotaping the parade so the community can enjoy the parade on the local TV channels throughout the holiday season, starting today. Parade participants have been lining up since 11 this morning, and the parade always begins promptly at 1 p.m. You can probably hear that on the first Sunday of December, today. The parade begins at the Suites of School, travels along Church Street, proceeds clockwise around the circle in the square, and up West Main Street to Union Street, disbanding at the Donahue School. Remember that today's holiday festivities continue into the evening with the annual town tree lighting event at Kimball Park on the corner of West Main Street and Union Street. Workers from the Merrimac Light Department have been working hard all week, repairing and replacing lights to ensure that we'll have another beautiful holiday tree park this year. Thank you to Manager Francesca Frias and his staff for all their excellent efforts. Cocoa and popcorn will be provided by the Merrimac Light Department starting about 4:30 today, and Santa will be on his sleigh at the park starting at about 4:30 to meet with children and provide an excellent photo opportunity. The countdown to tree lighting will begin promptly at 5 p.m. Festivities will continue into next Saturday, December 10th, when Santa will be available to meet with the children at the Merrimac Fire Station from noon to 3 p.m. This popular annual event is sponsored by the Merrimac Couplings. Free cookies, cocoa, and pictures with Santa will be provided by the Merrimac Couplings. The Merrimac Santa Committee works tirelessly around the year planning for the Santa Parade and its related activities. A major effort, of course, is raising the funds necessary to underwrite these events. The committee raises money operating the Duck Run during Old Home Days. The committee also will be sponsoring a custom car show featuring racing cars at the Waterhouse Field on August 19th, 2017. The committee recently requested contributions in a mailing with the Electric Light Department bills. Checks can still be sent in with your electric light payment or mailed to the Merrimac Santa Committee, Post Office Box 131 in Merrimac. The Light Department also has a big jar in the office waiting for contributions, which will also be at the Kimball Park tonight. Also, several committee members will be passing buckets among you during the parade today to gratefully collect any donations you wish to make. Before, during, and after the parade, the Lions Club is offering popcorn, hot dogs, coffee, and cocoa in front of the Perry Law offices to help underwrite the charitable acts it sponsors locally throughout the year. Also, during and after the parade, hot foods will be available in front of the Pilgrim Church just up the street on Church Street. Also, the Boy Scouts Troop number 41 from Merrimac are selling wreaths in the square right in front of the bank. They'll also be available at the Kimball Park for the tree lighting tonight. You might also be interested in checking out the Quilts of My Life exhibit at the Merrimac Public Library during regular library hours through January 12th. The quilter, Merrimac resident Brenda Patterson, has been featured in the Boston Globe magazine. Fire Department, led by Chief Ralph Spencer. Three of the fire trucks this year have banners on them in memoriam of fire department members who we lost during the past year. Brian Peavy, who was a member of the Merrimac Fire Department for 38 years, retired as chief in the year 2000. He was also a special police officer with the Merrimac Police Department for 45 years, served the town of Merrimac as Constable, Light and Water Commissioner, and Santa Parade Committee member. Also, we're recognizing in memoriam this year Cliff Judson, longtime Merrimac resident. Who, after graduating from Haverhill High School, Cliff proudly served in the United States Army during the early years of the Vietnam era until 1963, when he transferred to the U.S. Army Reserve, serving until 1966. Cliff was a heavy equipment mechanic who served as a dedicated volunteer with the Merrimac Fire Department for 25 years, where he was the in-house mechanic. We also remember today Norman Armstrong, who for 35 years was machinist with General Electric in Lynn, and was also the retired deputy fire chief for the town of Merrimac. Lifelong resident Norman Armstrong. Merrimac Fire Department, thank you for all your help and efforts during the year. It's a tight squeeze around this circle. Be really careful with your children, please. In memory of firefighter Cliff Judson. The Merrimac Tower Truck. Thank you, Merrimac Fire Department. Here is engine number 1 from Amesbury, our neighbor to the east. Amesbury Fire Department, engine number 1. Thanks for joining us today. Next we have Groveland, engine number 1. Groveland, thanks for coming over to the parade today. Appreciate that. And here's the West Newbury, engine number 2. Thank you, West Newbury, for coming and joining us today at the Merrimac Parade. Thank you. And here's West Newbury, engine 24, in memory of Lieutenant Kenny E. Fowler. Next, we have the Salisbury Fire Rescue Truck, engine number 204. Thank you for joining us. Southampton Fire and Rescue. Thank you for being here. Southampton, New Hampshire. Southampton Fire Rescue. Thank you. And here is the engine number 1 from Southampton, New Hampshire. Thank you for being with us. Mike Slobin in our engine number 4, Merrimac engine number 4, followed by, I guess it's engine number 1 of Richard's Appliance with Snoopy. Next we have Plasto Tower number 3, making their way around the circle and the square. Welcome to Merrimac, Plasto Tower number 3. Haverhill Fire Department, last alarm, number 1. Thank you for being with us. Now we have our neighbor to the north, Newton, New Hampshire Fire Rescue Truck. Newburyport, Winchester, Lowell. Motorcycle riders for the police departments over there. NEMLEC. Salisbury Police Department. 37 Ford pickup driven by Bob Henderson of Merrimac, Massachusetts. Bob has been very helpful to us at getting this whole antique car section of the parade organized. Thank you, Bob, for your efforts. Next, we have a 1932 Ford Deuce Coupe driven by Charlie Hall of Amesbury. Haverhill. Thank you, Charlie. Next is a 1936 Ford Coupe driven by Greg Cashman of Haverhill. Next is a 1932 Ford Victoria driven by Beanie Wentworth of Haverhill, Massachusetts. Next is a 1951 Ford Custom driven by Brian Delaney of Georgetown, Massachusetts. Next is a 1958 Ford pickup truck driven by Bob Powers of South Berwick, Maine. And we have a 1932 Chevrolet. It's a 5-window coupe driven by Jim Hughes of Haverhill. Now we have 1940 Ford Standard driven by Bob Edgerly of Haverhill, Massachusetts. And now a 1955 Chevy Nomad driven by Bruce and Cindy Warnke of Haverhill, Massachusetts. Next is a 1934 Ford 5-window coupe driven by Cheyenne Manning of Groveland, Massachusetts. Next car is driven by Ron Wheeler of Haverhill. It's a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. Then there's a 1959 Sedan DeVille Cadillac, driven by Chris Darg of Pelham, New Hampshire. I didn't know they'd had that option in 1959. Woo! There he goes. Now we have a 1963 Ford Fairlane 500, driven by Arthur Adams of Groveland, Mass. Now a 1963, whoa, another thumper. 1963 Chevy Impala Lowrider, driven by Richie Borelli of Hampton Falls, New Hampshire. We're now waiting for a 1935 Ford Model 48, owned by Jerry Wiederhold in Southampton, New Hampshire. They don't make them like they used to, thankfully. Let's give a nice big hand to Jerry Wiederhold from Southampton, New Hampshire, and his 1935 Ford 48. Next is a 1972 Chevy Corvette, driven by Steve and Barbara Bograt from Bradford, Massachusetts. Now we have a 1930 Ford Model A, driven by Steve and Barbara Bograt from Bradford, Massachusetts. Next is a 1940 Ford Deluxe, owned by Bob and Linda Willett from Newburyport. Welcome. Next is a 1961 Chevy Corvette, driven by Lynn Savage of Haverhill, Massachusetts. (1950) Ford Custom, driven by Paul Hutto, Hipping, New Hampshire. Now we have a 1952 Ford F1, driven by Ken Page of Raymond, New Hampshire. Beautiful. Do we have a card? Out of order now. Sorry, folks, we seem to have lost the order. order of our cards. Is that a 35? Let's give it a 34. 34. That one's a 34. We have a 1935 Ford Tudor sedan, driven by Jimmy Jack Cross from Haverhill. No, that's not a 63. The next one, that's a 63. Yeah, look at the Corvair Monza. 1963 Chevrolet Corvair Monza Spider, driven by Jeff Hennessy of Merrimac. Hey, Jeff. Now we have a 1955 Chevy Bel Air, driven by Chip Hubbard of Haverhill. Chevy Bel Air. Original plates. Now we have a 1966 Studebaker Daytona model, driven by Eric Lingerman of Merrimac, Massachusetts. Now we have a 1967 Chevrolet Malibu, owner Fuzz from West Newbury, Mass. 1948 Cadillac. Is that a 48? 1998 Cadillac DeVille, driven by Ryan Rogers of Plasto. And now we have a 1976 Ford Starsky and Hutch Torino, driven by Bob Brown of Merrimac. Next is a 1969 Chevrolet Custom Camper 20, driven by P. Mamacos of Como, Colorado. Long way for this parade. Come from all over for this parade. You're getting a push there, Colorado. Reliable, resilient Merrimac residents. Looks like a 62 Corvette. I don't have a card in this, but the Corvette's still nice. And now there's a 1934 Ford Model B pickup truck, driven by Jim and Ruth Benjamin from up the street in Newton, New Hampshire. Hey, Jimmy. Next is the 1952 Ford Jeep, driven by Bob and Betty Sanborn, Salisbury, Massachusetts. Now our 1967 King Midget, model midget, driven by Steve Fife of Haverhill, formerly of Merrimac. Oh, of course you are. Once a Merrimacker, always a Merrimacker. Steve Fife. Thanks for coming, Steve. Good to see you again. See you next year. The original economy car, 300 miles per gallon. Now there's a 1978 AM General M813A1. And this is a vintage race car owned by John and Corinne Williams, Plasto, New Hampshire. Is that? Remember, the Vintage Race Cars and Car Show will be in the Waterhouse Field next August. On Saturday, August the 19th from 10 to 4. That'll be a fundraiser for the Merrimac Santa Parade Committee. We have an upright, super modified 1966 racer by Eddie West, raced by Eddie West at the Pines and Hudson Speedway, and it's owned by Joey Andrews in Sandown, New Hampshire. And here is a 1939 GMC truck owned by Tri-State Generator in Kingston, New Hampshire. Is that one, do you think?
I think that was on that flat.
Oh, it was? Okay. I don't think that's a Chevy. I don't know if we have, sorry, I don't think we have a card for you. Thanks for coming. Now we have a section of cars called Monster Cars. There's a 1948 Ford F2 owned by Ann Fitton of Southampton, New Hampshire. And a 1986 Chevrolet K20 owned by Gene and Jessica Nisi of Nisi Automotive Services in Brentwood, New Hampshire. We have a 1978 Freightliner cab over owned by Jeff Fielding from Allenstown, New Hampshire. Can you back up, please? Real tight squeeze here. We have a 1941 Willys tow truck. Jethro Tow, owned by Jeff Berger and family from Pittsfield, New Hampshire. Jethro Tow. We have a 1946 Dodge D100, owned by Gary Muskie Jr., Barrington, New Hampshire. And we have a 2003 Buggy, owned by Nate Archer. It's a rock climber down from Deerfield, New Hampshire. Rock Carla.
That's it on the much over.
Okay, we have a 2000 Tri-State Generator float, model F450, and that's owned by Scott and Rebecca Sherman, Kingston, New Hampshire, driven by service technician Matthew Labby.
This is Richard's appliance,
I think, didn't we already have Richards? That's the Tri-State Generator. We got that.
Then you got the color guy coming up.
Now we have a color guard from Essex County Sheriff's Department. Congratulations to Sheriff Norman Cousins, who's retiring this year after 20 years as sheriff. Former resident of Merrimac, Norman Cousins. There'll be a new sheriff in town next year. And the Sheriff's Department is followed by Merrimac Selectmen Earl Baumgartner, Andrew Connor, and Harold Lloyd.
The Grand Marshal.
Already? Okay. And we have Lenny Mira here with us today as well, and as well as Mickey Mouse. Thank you for coming. Whoa, Thelma. Here we have the 2016 Grand Marshal. Let's all give the Grand Marshal of the Merrimac Santa Parade a huge welcome. This year's Grand Marshal is Thelma Gibbs. The lovely Thelma is being driven today by handsome Kenny Gibbs, her husband of 66 years. Thanks to Amesbury Chevrolet for loaning us this beautiful red Corvette. Ken and Thelma were married in 1950, the same year they bought their first house on Prospect Hill in Merrimac, where they still live. Thelma moved here from West Newbury, where she'd lived all of her life until then. Thelma worked at the First and Ocean Bank in Newburyport until her retirement in 1988. That year, she started working as a volunteer at the Merrimac Senior Center when it was on School Street, and she still volunteers many hours a week there. She's been a very active and indispensable member of the Merrimac Santa Committee for over 30 years, helping to decorate the town square and the parade float, participating in the parade and appearing in the parade musicals from 1982 to 2004. She and Kenny have been members of the Retreads Motorcycle Club for 45 years, and about 20 years ago, they traveled cross-country with the club for 5 weeks. Thelma has been active in the Merrimac Garden Club for many years, and a couple of weeks ago, the Garden Club surprised her by dedicating the garden at the intersection of Broad Street and Route 110 to her, the Thelma Gibbs Garden. Thelma says, thank you all for the wonderful memories. Congratulations, Thelma, and thank you to Amesbury Chevrolet for loaning us this beautiful red Corvette. It's just a loaner, Kenny, just a loaner. No more cross-country trips today. Hey, Thelma, one more round of applause for Thelma Gibbs, this year's Grand Marshal. Next, we have the Junior King and Queen. Luca Passanisi is the king. He's the son of Jessica and Mario, and the brother of 7-year-old sister Emily. He's a 6th grader at Donahue. His teacher is Ms. Palowich. He'll be heading to Pentucket Junior High School next year. Luca has a cat named Valentino, and he enjoys playing football for the Salisbury Buccaneers. He wants to be an NFL quarterback. Besides playing football, Luca is an amateur magician, and his favorite subject in school is math. Our 2016 queen is Emma Breen. She's a daughter of Josh and Courtney. She has a brother, Jack, and a sister, Regan. She's a sixth grader at Donahue. Teacher is Miss Gaffiti. She'll also be attending Pentucket Junior High School next year. She wants to become a veterinarian, which will be handy since her family now has 5 dogs. Emma likes to read, and she plays goalie for the Merrimac Puma soccer team. Thank you, and thanks again to Amesbury Chevrolet for providing the vehicle for the King and Queen. Entering into the square is the Middlesex County 4-H Fifes and Drum Corps. The Middlesex County 4-H Fifes and Drums were founded in 1972 in order to pass on New England's fife and drum tradition to young musicians. Let's give a nice big hand to the Middlesex County 4-H Fifes and Drum Corps. Approaching the square is the Londonderry High School Band. It's the Marching Lancer Band and Color Guard. Last year, the Lancers marched in the Orlando Citrus Parade and at Walt Disney World on New Year's Eve. In March, they performed in the New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade on Fifth Avenue. They represented New Hampshire in the last 2 presidential inaugural parades in Washington, D.C. Next year, the Lancers will return to California to march for the 5th time in the Pasadena Tournament of Roses Parade on January 1st. Please welcome the London High School Marching Lancers! They're sponsored today by the North Shore Bank. from Londonderry. Now you know why they're so famous. Next marching in the parade is the Merrimac softball team. The Merrimac Softball League wishes everyone a happy holidays. Spring registration is now open. Visit merrimacsoftball.com for more details. Another O'Keefe in the house. Next we have Boy Scout Troop number 91 from Newton, New Hampshire. Welcome, Boy Scouts. Now winding their way through the square, and the circle in the square are the Bektash High Rollers, mini monster trucks. They support the Shriners Hospital for Children, and we welcome them here to Merrimac. Bektash High Rollers. And there's Wally, the Green Monster. Wally's sponsored by Delio's Pizza. Thank you for coming, Wally. We'd also like to thank Common Grounds Coffee Shop for their support and participation in the parade this year. Bektash High Rollers, Shriners Help Kids. There they go. Bektash High Rollers, mini monster trucks. Asprey Towing, wish you happy holidays. Asprey Towing, the home of the Happy Hookers, from their tow family to your family. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I think we had a couple of customers here earlier for you, but we pushed them out of the way. Yeah, we have the Penguins Troop 19736. The Penguins of Troop 13976 from Newton, New Hampshire. Haverhill Bank, thank you for your support of the parade today. And they have supported and sponsored two of the Pentucket groups today. This first one is the Pentucket Mallet Band. Let's give them a nice big welcome. Thank you, Pentucket Mallet Band. The Pentucket Mallet Ensemble competes in the New England Scholastic Band Association Winter Percussion Circuit. Members Colin Tarr, Alec Parati, and Derek Scala have been accepted into the Massachusetts Northeast Districts. Now, representing the Essex Beekeepers Association, well, an association of over 200 active members. They are represented today by the Merrimac native, Essex County Honey Ambassador Lindsay Huff. Members walking have honey-filled candy for you. Have a honey of a Christmas. Thank you, beekeepers. Thank you for helping us keep our crops our crops fertilized. Here we have the Georgetown Groveland Dance Studio, directed by Heather O'Toole Murphy. Artistic director is Vanessa Raftery. They have classes in ballet, tap, jazz, hip-hop, lyrical, from ages 3 and up. They're located at 52 Central Street in Georgetown, Mass. Georgetown Groveland Dance Studio. Thank you for being with us. Let's give them a nice big hand. Next we have the Sax Pack. It's a sax quartet comprised of Greg Lyons on soprano, Laurie Pazzalo on alto, Paul Yankowitz on tenor, and Ron Hain on baritone. They play for parades and festivals and private events all year round. They've been in our parade for many years, and we really appreciate them. The Sax Pack. Sax Pack. Thank you, Sax Pack, for being with us today. Now entering the square is Ocasio's True Martial Arts. They're teaching kids, teens, and adults in Haverhill and Plastow for over 31 years. They just celebrated their 23rd annual Turkey Brigade, delivering 500 Thanksgiving turkey dinners. And now they're here to entertain you. Entrepreneurial Award by Entrepreneurship for All, E for All. The award is given to startups with proven ability to bring social and positive social and economic impacts to the communities they serve. Fun Face Express. Entering the square now is the Shared Living Collaborative. It's a nonprofit agency supporting youths and adults with disabilities. Shared Living operates several farms and a therapeutic horseback riding facility. And they are located in Merrimac. And thank you for being here with us today. Fun Face Express, the fun-faced driver. Are you Mr. Trombley? Welcome. Do you think they're here? Shared Living Collaborative. Thank you for walking in the parade today. Really appreciate it. Now we have the Groveland Brownie Troop number 6911. Thank you to the leaders, Nicole, Lauren, and Sarah from the Brownies. They're followed by the Immaculate Conception School Choir. They're celebrating its 135th year next year. They have an open house over at the Immaculate Conception School on January 29th. Immaculate Conception Church is joined in collaboration with the Holy Redeemer Parish in Merrimac and St. Anne's Church in West Newbury, so it's particularly interesting to us. Next we have the Pentucket Marching Band, sponsored by the Haverhill Bank. Let's give them a nice big welcome. Pentucket Marching Band. The PRHS Marching Band represents students from Groveland, West Newbury, and Merrimac. Come to their big band, orchestra, and chorus concert at the high school on December 21st, PRHS Auditorium. Now, Karen's Hair and Nail Salon. But Roger Goodell gets coal for Christmas. Sorry. Number one fans, Karen, Gina, Heather, and Tara. Thank you for being in the parade. Now we have Mr. Poor in his mini hauler, Billy Burr's Funorama. Thank you, Roland Poor, for being with us today. Season's greetings. Now we have Kathy's Tumbleweeds. Make that Katie's Tumbleweeds. Katie's Tumbleweed Performance Team and Pre-Professional Company wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And we wish you that as well. Katie's Tumbleweeds. Now we have a float from Whittier Votech High School, a perennial favorite. The Whittier Tech students are celebrating their own rendition of Inside Santa's Workshop. All Whittier shops and art classes work as a collective effort to reminisce on the nostalgic toys of yesterday and today, and reflect on the memorable characters from the treasured movies such as The Grinch, The Gremlins, The Year Without a Santa Claus, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. The float centers around a rocking horse, which everyone from all ages can relate to. Let's not forget about our buddy the elf, who's in charge of all the other elves. Yoda, Jingle Jangle, Elf, Christmas Elf, Hermie the Elf, Gizmo, the Keebler Elf, Dobby from Harry Potter, the Grinch, and Elf on the Shelf. Thank you, Whittier. Always a great float. Next we have Girl Scout Troop 72020 from Merrimac. There are 16 girls in that troop from kindergarten to grade 2. Leaders are Christy Dinah, Marley Costa, Elise Kessner. There's an antique John Deere tractor that is being paraded by the Spalding family, and the trailer is provided by the Briscoe Services. Thank you, Girl Scout Troop 720210. Next, we have a float from Jewett Real Estate. Heidi Jewett, lifelong resident of Merrimac, helping families make their move for 32 years, proudly presents an old-fashioned Christmas. Integrity, knowledge, expertise. And happy birthday to Rachel Waterhouse. Jewett Real Estate. Thank you, Heidi. They're followed by the Bektesh Mini Cars Patrol. Bektesh from Concord, New Hampshire. Following the Bektesh Mini Corvettes is Girl Scout Troop 65028 from West Newbury. Let's give them a nice welcome. Georgetown High School Royal Lancer Marching Band. Georgetown High School Royal Lancer Marching Band from Georgetown, Massachusetts, with 54 members. Georgetown is directed by Eric Blackman, and the majorettes are Jack Hoover and Pip Cannon. Next we have Girl Scout Troop 79108, Brownies. Troop leaders Danielle Grimes and Nicole Gallant. Thank you for being in our parade today. Now in the square we have the Clan McPherson. They were established in 1921 in Lawrence, Massachusetts. They're one of the oldest North American pipe bands. Let's give them a great hand. Clan McPherson, pipes and drums from North Andover, Massachusetts. They're followed by the Alternative Dog Daycare, big or small, they watch them all. And Santa Home Visits. They're looking for families in need to sign up for Santa to bring a kid a toy. I'll give you the number, not because you can write it down now, but you can see it at home probably on your TV. It's 978-457-0825 to sign up. They're followed by our Neighbor's Table, which is dedicated to feeding the people of northern Essex County. Our Neighbor's Table works in conjunction with the Merrimac Senior Center and the Council on Aging. They wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Next is Merrimac CSA, and that's a local family farm since 1667. I'm sure it has something to do with the Sargent family. And they've been providing weekly vegetable shares July through October, the Merrimac CSA. Now we have the Sons of Italy, performing in their 76th year. The Sons of Italy Drum Bugle Corps has been on national television 3 times, selected to play in Governor Cellucci's inauguration in 1999, Governor Volpe's in 1970. The only Sons of Italy's Drum and Bugle Corps in the United States. The band has performed in 25 parades per year, including all the major feasts in the North End. They're led by Drum Major Stephen Ianolfo. The band plays both American and Italian military songs. Famous for their military maneuvers, the band is led by the award-winning Brill Flaum. The band wishes you all happy holidays.